Welcome back to my channel. We are now seeing actual socialists and communists getting support in the United States, even winning elections. Well, we've had lots of socialists, but they just didn't admit to it. They mostly just called themselves Democrats or liberals or progressives. They're just openly admitting to it now. None of this surprises me. I didn't know exactly when it would get this bad, but I knew it was coming. As I told people back in 2013, our best hope was that the left would see their goals so close to the point of no return that they'd push too hard, become too obvious with their goals, and thus people may wake up in time to stop it. That may still be the case. They're definitely being more obvious, and we are getting closer to a leftist tyranny. They can claim it is just socialism or communism done the right way, but there is no right way. Freedom always loses. So let's look at the Democrat Socialists of America and how stunningly stupid they are. Or, just maybe, they are hoping that after decades of indoctrination in our education system, that they hope you are stupid enough to fall for their rhetoric. I have a short clip here of an NBC News interview with Francis Gill, who is a representative of the Democrat Socialists of America. Even though the DSA's own documents say they want to defund and eventually eliminate the police, as well as releasing everyone from prison, watch how she tries to avoid admitting it.
Your policy agenda on law enforcement is to defund police, ultimately to get rid of police departments, correct?
Well, what I would say is that we're dramatically overspending on police right now.
But she wasn't asked about the amount of spending. Budgeting is something every government evaluates. This was a clear question about eliminating the police if the DSA gets their way. She is trying misdirection. Fortunately, the interviewer kept after her.
I understand, but the goal is to defund the police departments so we don't need them in the future.
I think it's what we really want to see is a horizon where folks are not reliant on armed enforcement to meet our public safety need.
Well, that's closer, but still misdirection. Now it is being less reliant on armed enforcement, but that can mean anything. I'm quite confident the idea is to make people think they will keep the police, but no, their goal is the elimination of them, temporarily. More on that soon.
Right, but it says defund police on the website. That's your goal. And also to get rid of prisons and jails, correct?
Yes.
Finally, should have admitted to that in the first place. No police and no prisons or jails. That should work out about how you should expect. The left lives in a dream world, as if being nice and giving people free stuff, somehow forgetting that someone has to actually do the work to create or pay for that stuff, will end crime. Simple fact, there's never been any system at any time or any place that stopped crime, not even just violent crime. This includes socialist, Marxist, and communist governments. Unfortunately, many people just want to believe such a utopia is possible. Millions of people around the world have had to find out the hard way, but by then, it is too late, as leftists intend to rule, period. I mentioned the elimination of police would be temporary. This is why. First, actual crime will get worse. The initial reaction will be extensions to what we've already seen. That is, define crime down. You accept more plea deals, so a murder becomes manslaughter. Or you declare that a person can steal higher amounts of money or property before it is considered a felony, or not even prosecute at all. And just like that, with a stroke of a pen, they can report crime as lower, but not so good for the actual victims of crime. Eventually, as crime continues to get worse, the public will demand something be done, and it will be. They probably won't recreate police departments because they've already labeled them as bad. Instead, they'll come up with different terminology. The left is good at playing word games. They need something catchy. Maybe they could use the word Gestapo. Keep in mind, after first eliminating the police, you know, people who are often your friends and neighbors, they get to replace them with their political allies. I suspect most, or even all, will be brought in from outside your community. It's easier to trample the rights of those you don't know. And more of their time will be spent on what we might call political crimes. That is, arresting people for speaking thoughts the regime doesn't approve of. They'll just call it hate speech. We've already seen that in the UK. So, yes, it can happen any place. Let's get back to how this woman gets even worse, clearly trying to avoid the reality of, well, life.
If my daughter is assaulted and raped, is there any agency that would seek to find her assailant and bring him to justice?
Of course, yeah, of course.
Does that make you feel better? Think again, because she didn't actually give a meaningful answer. Again, the interviewer did his job.
What would it be
Absolutely.
if not police, and where would he be if not a jail?
So I guess I really want to avoid getting kind of caught into these hypotheticals and talk more about the reality that we're actually facing right now, which is that we're spending absolutely outrageous amounts of money on police and policing, and we're not spending money on things that actually make people safe.
This woman must be an expert at dodgeball, writing off a very basic question about their policies and calling it hypothetical. That's either nuts or a dishonest excuse to distract from their plans and the effect they'll have. The only thing that could remotely be called hypothetical would be his using his own daughter as a possible victim. But rape and assault, along with other violent crimes, happen literally every day, especially if you look at the big cities where the Democrats are in control and have been for ages. But they will always exist to a considerable degree, no matter who is in charge or what government system exists. That's just reality. But she just writes the whole thing off as a hypothetical. Such people should not be trusted. They are, in fact, dangerous. Don't forget, these new politicians want to eliminate the Supreme Court and the Senate and the presidency, putting everything under a new kind of Congress. They have zero concept of the importance of checks and balances. Or just maybe they do understand and don't want them. As such, you'll end up with a tyranny in no time, regardless of whether some of these people have good intentions or not. I may do more videos about this political threat on future releases, probably on Tuesdays rather than my normal Fridays on Rumble and on X. But first, let me give you an example of one of the important promoters of this movement.
I fuck the Constitution. I wipe my ass with the Constitution. It's a fucking piece of paper, dude. Shut the fuck up. Motherfuck the Constitution and motherfuck this country, okay?
When Obama called for a fundamental change of our nation, he wasn't kidding. That was when I knew for sure what was coming. Thanks for watching, and don't let the trolls stop you from speaking out.